You're listening to The Break, episode 52, How a Laugh May Have Broken Mark Twain's Suicide Attempt. This is The Break, where I share stories and actionable insights on breaking the scripts in your head so you can build the future you want. If you like what you've been reading and listening to, please follow along with me on Twitter. I am at MNGarden, or you can find me on LinkedIn by searching Michael Garden and have more community and conversations about breaking work. All right, number 52, The Making of Mark Twain. Mark Twain put a pistol to his head. It was somewhere in 1865 or 1866. Samuel Clemens, as was his real name, was living paycheck to paycheck, writing 2,000-word pieces 6 days a week for $100 a month. He badgered himself for not living up to the writer he wanted to be, and he was deeply in debt. He was 30 years old and holding the future of American literature at gunpoint. But first, real quick, a big thank you to our sponsors for helping me bring this newsletter to you, absolutely free. If you're looking for a job or looking to hire in 2023, start with ZipRecruiter today to find the best opportunities and candidates out there. I'm proud to partner with this award-winning company to bring you this newsletter absolutely free. And if you're looking for interview and personal branding tips, I wrote a little guide. It's called the Break Interview and Personal Branding Guide. I get asked every week for interview tips, so I put together a super cheap interview guide encompassing everything I know about interviewing. It's over 130 pages of interview and Q&A for only $35. But back to Mark. So he wrote his brother, "If I do not get out of debt in 3 months, pistols or poison for one, exit me." This soon-to-be great writer was at his breaking point. He made a purposeful typo in his first national byline for Harper's, crediting the article to Mike Swain, because the article was so atypical of the sort of writing he wanted to do in his life. He didn't know that he was months away from having such a grand reception at his first public lecture that it would turn into his first speaking tour. He was stuck in an identity crisis. He hadn't embraced his true talent yet. He was living in that hopeless gap, and he thought his life was over. But he didn't pull the trigger. No one exactly knows what happened, but something changed inside him. Instead of exiting his story a broken man, he decided to break the path he was on. If he was still here, I'd want to interview him about this moment. That's what my podcast is about. The break moments that change us forever. We don't know what happened. One account says he was staring at a bill, and the stern language of the letter for the small amount of money he owed made him laugh, and he put the pistol down. Maybe this comedic relief in his own theater of the absurd was enough to change his entire trajectory and lead him on a journey to actualize his natural, calm, witty, and humorous writing style. Or perhaps, as recounted in his autobiography released 100 years after his death, per his wishes, "I put the pistol to my head, but wasn't man enough to pull the trigger. Many times I've been sorry I did not succeed, but I was never ashamed of having tried. Suicide is the only really sane thing the young or old ever do in this life." Now, personally, I choose to believe that he laughed at the bill. I choose to believe that this was the moment that he truly embraced his talent and realized where his writing would cut through. Maybe it's because I believe in the power of laughter to change our state and the states of those around us who are suffering silently. Or maybe I just want that to be true. Whatever happened that faithful day, a scared young man transformed into the greatest writer perhaps ever. An indebted urban yuppie was called to adventure and exploration. And Samuel Clemens transformed into Mark Twain. The rest is history. How many of us are living in that gap between who we are and who we think we should be? How many of us have the guts to break our path? Are you one? Here's to breaking your old habits and becoming the best version of yourself. And I'll see you next week.